Hello, everyone. Welcome to our recorded discussion in Assessment and Learning 2. And for this topic, we will be talking about outcome based education or OBE and assessment. For this topic, you are expected to explain the essence of OBE and OBDL, compare different concepts such as UBD or understanding by design, OBE and OBDL through different frameworks, and explain the meaning of constructive alignment in the context of instructional cycle through different classroom assessment setups. So that we are guided in achieving our learning outcomes, for this discussion, we will have it in a question and answer type of delivery. First question is, what is outcome based education? Well, OBE is not new to us anymore because I am sure in your basic education, you always have this observation that your teacher always delivered the lesson first with stating the objectives. And in the objectives, it is always what you will be able to do after that lesson. And that is actually a good example of what is an outcome based education. In the implementation of it, the Commission on Higher Education Memorandums dated Order 46, Series of 2012, actually calls for all Philippine higher education to have an outcome based and typology based quality assurance. This is aligned with the Philippine Constitution 1987 Article 14, Section 11, which says the state shall protect and promote right of all citizens to quality education, and that it should establish, maintain, and support a complete, adequate, and integrated system of education relevant to the needs of the people and the society in the following section. I would like to highlight the word relevant to the needs of the people and the society. That is why Navarro have different types or classification of outcome. First is the immediate outcome and the deferred outcome. Immediate outcome, from its word, these are what the learners will achieve on that specific learning competency in the basic ed or in the higher ed on that specific topic. Immediate means after, right away, the learner will be able to demonstrate that skill or will be able to state that knowledge. Deferred outcome, on the other hand, takes a long time. Sometimes it's after the completion of the higher education program. These are the examples. For immediate outcomes, we have the ability to communicate in writing, reading, speaking, and solve mathematical problems. And these are the fundamental skills we always learned in the basic education. Now, for deferred outcome, these are when a certain individual will be able to apply the professional skills needed to for that certain occupation. Such as, for example, in your case, which are a student in the TEP or the teacher education program, you are expected to apply or master, deliver the content of your specialization. And that is a clear example of deferred outcome. That's why it's always a point of reflection to ask ourselves whether we have already achieved all the immediate outcomes that are needed for a teacher education program student. Sometimes um, the lack of attainment in the immediate outcome will hinder us to have a deferred outcome or achieve this deferred outcome. That is why, as EDCOM releases its second congressional report, it says that there is a learning gap of 3 to 4 years. That is because the immediate outcomes were not attained, hence hindering us to have a higher literacy rate, which is a deferred outcome. Now, let's look Or let's define OBE in the version of SPD. According to him, OBE is a transformative education. This is different from a content based curriculum in which the focus is the book or the content on the book. Here, it is always the achievement of the learning objective. That is why it is also concerned with the long term cross curricular outcome that are related directly to the student's future life role. Good example is the different outcome you have if you will have this program completed. This is not Spady mentioned that this outcomes is not significant unless it does reflect the complexity of real life and that the learner will be able to apply it after the formal education. That is why if we will scrutinize the version of SPD about OBE, he is talking about the different outcome the learner will achieve after the formal education. And take note, it is not just about skills or those academic skills. It also involves soft skills. And here is the picture of SPD, which is named as the father of OBE, as the first proponent to release this approach. The second question we're going to answer this in this topic is what is outcome based teaching and learning? Or how can we apply OBE? Big's version, together with Tang, defined outcome as a learning or defined learning outcome as a more specific than those institutional outcome and program outcomes and course outcome. To make a greater picture of it, let's have this diagram. So, as you can see, institutional outcomes are those after you graduate. These are the graduate attributes. For example, we're always called that after we graduate, we are called a Holy Crossan graduate because we embodied those vision and mission stated in or stated by the institution. Program outcomes are after the completion of the program itself. For example, there are different program outcomes stipulated under BSEd program, under BEd program, and even under BPED program. Course outcome is more specific than program outcomes because, as you all know, we don't call our program anymore as course. You all know a program composes of different courses, and sometimes in each semester, you are required to get at least 8 to 10 courses or subjects in layman's term. Another specific is the learning outcome, which is after the completion of the topic. Or could be in one topic there are two or more learning outcomes. Now, during the making of the curriculum, or for example, the creation of the syllabus, it is always best to see it from broader to specific. But during the application of this, it is always best to see it from specific to broader goals. Okay, I hope we remember this concept. Again, during the making of the curriculum, it is always based to laid out all institutional outcomes, the program outcomes stipulated by the CHED Memorandum 74 to 80 series of 2017. Then we laid out all our course outcome. For example, in the course of assessment and learning, and under assessment of learning, we have different topics, which is the learning outcomes. However, in the implementation in the classroom, I always start with learning outcomes. Later, after this course or after the semester, you will achieve the course outcome. After your program completion, you will achieve you will achieve the program outcome, and when you graduate, you will achieve those graduate attributes of becoming a Holy Crusher. So, from broader to specific, that is during the making, and from specific to broad goals, that is during the implementation. Now let's have the principles of OBE. Here we have four principles to follow. If we are, again, um, it's not that we are going to follow, but we are required to follow in this type of curriculum. First is clarity of focus. That is why during the making of your LP or your lesson plans, you are always asked or you are always tasked to make your outcomes simple, and that the student will be able to demonstrate after your lesson or after the course or even after the program. Designing down means it is your instructional making or instructional design, which should focus on how the learners will be able to achieve. Designing down means that if your learning outcome says or states create, the student will be able to create. Then, after that, you make or you design a teaching and learning activity that will help them to create something, either through simulation, demonstration, or any other approach that will help them to make their own later after your evaluation. Next is high expectation. High expectation is believing all your learners can learn and succeed, but also reminding yourselves that not all of them learn in the same pace. Not all learners can learn the same thing in the same way. That is why we apply the different multiple intelligences by Howard Gardner. A good example of this is that we don't give them a discussion based approach only. Also, we apply gamified learning, we apply inquiry based approach, we apply exploratory based approach through expanded opportunities. In the parable of talent in Matthew chapter 25, verses 14 to 30, we are being reminded that not all learners will be able to have those five talents. Some may have three, some may have one, but the important is how we provide them lot of opportunities or how we scaffold their learning. The last question included in this topic is that what is constructive alignment? Constructive alignment is the application of OBE and OBTL. It should follow the designing down the second principle of OBE by Biggs, and by SPD, it is actually creating a learning environment that supports the learning activities and that leads to achieve the desired learning outcome. In framework, this is how we do it. First is we make the learning outcomes of the curriculum. Take note, in higher ed, we get the learning or we get the program outcomes from the CHED. For basic ed, we get it from the Matatag curriculum. After that, we when we have already our smart learning outcomes or objectives, we plan the assessment regime. In other words, we map for these um, learning objectives or learning outcomes how they will be able to achieve it through what test or through what pen and paper or authentic assessment. And right after that, we make the teaching and learning activities. And then it's a cycle. After we have our TLA, we go back to making the learning outcomes again. We've planned the assessment test or we plan the assessment steps, and then we make the teaching and learning activities that will help us achieve our learning outcome. This is similar to understanding by design by Wiggins and McTaggy. So it is again identifying or writing down the desired results based from the CHED and based from the DepEd documents, then we determine how to assess, or in other words, we determine the acceptable evidence, and we plan the learning experience that will help us achieve those identified desired results. In the classroom, this is what we do if we follow the UBD and the approaches of OBE and OBTL. Here we have the learning outcomes. We deliver that through teaching and learning activities. This now includes discussions, activities, formative assessment, and feedbacking before we have our summative assessment. And then we go back to learning outcomes. Then again, we make the teaching and learning activities, and then we have our assessment. So take note, it is a cycle. It does not end with identifying only your learning outcomes. It doesn't only end after you deliver the discussion, and it doesn't only end after you give an exam. It is always a cycle. Now, it is us to be reminded that when we say TLAs, it involves assessment for learning. For summative assessment, it is assessment of learning. That is why the best practice is always to make sure the learners were able to master the learning competency before giving the summative assessment. How do we make sure that they have mastered it? That is through giving formative assessment, such as quizzes in the classroom, a short review, a short feedbacking, a short activity that will help them test whether they have understood the topic or not before we give the exam. In the basic education, I have mentioned already the classroom assessment, which is divided into three components, which we have the written exam, or the written work, we have the performance task, and we have the quarterly assessment. There, we are reminded that the quarterly assessment should be the summative assessment. In the higher ed, you have your prelim, midterm, semifinal, and final exams. There, you are being reminded that in each quarter, for example, before prelim, your teacher or your instructor were able to provide proper teaching and learning activities before they gave the exams, or those, it could be paper and pen type of test or authentic assessment. And that would be all for our topic, which is outcome based education and assessment. Remember that when we say outcome based education, we are into the attainment of the outcome rather than just delivering it. Thank you so much, and see you again on the next recorded discussion.